In a world increasingly obsessed with perfection, filtered selfies, pristine homes on Instagram, idealized lifestyles displayed on social media, the idea of loving imperfection might seem counterintuitive, even radical. We are told, subtly and overtly, that we must constantly fix ourselves, polish our images, and erase our flaws. Yet somewhere beneath the surface of glossy illusions lies a deeper human longing, the desire to be accepted as we are, in all our brokenness and vulnerability. It is in this space that the ancient Japanese philosophy of Wabi-Sabi emerges, not as a critique of modern aesthetics, but as a gentle reminder that true beauty lies in the imperfect, the impermanent, and the incomplete. To love imperfection through the lens of Wabi-Sabi is not merely to tolerate the cracks in the wall or the wrinkles on the face, but to see them as the very things that make life profound and beautiful. In this video explores the meaning and implications of Wabi-Sabi's celebration of imperfection. It traces its historical roots, examines its philosophical foundations, and reveals how this quietly powerful worldview can reshape our relationship with ourselves, others, and the world. In doing so, we are invited to abandon the pursuit of flawlessness and instead discover the rich, textured beauty of a life well lived, not because it is perfect, but because it is real. Wabi-Sabi is not a system of thought with strict doctrines, nor is it easily translatable into Western categories. Rooted in Zen Buddhism and the aesthetics of medieval Japan, Wabi-Sabi began as a subtle, almost spiritual response to the extravagance of Chinese-influenced design. During the 15th century, Japanese tea masters such as Sono Rikyu revolutionized the tea ceremony by rejecting luxurious Chinese porcelain and elaborate decorations in favor of humble, rustic Japanese wares that reflected the natural world's asymmetry and imperfection. The term itself is a combination of two distinct but related concepts, wabi and sabi. Originally, wabi connoted the loneliness of living in nature, far from society, but it evolved to mean a simple, austere beauty found in rustic solitude and humility. Sabi, once associated with the passage of time and the decay it brings, came to mean the serene beauty that comes with age and wear. Together, Wabi-Sabi encapsulates a worldview that finds elegance not in perfection but in natural imperfection, in weathered wood, cracked ceramics, faded fabric, and the gentle decline of all things. More than an aesthetic, Wabi-Sabi is a metaphysical orientation. It teaches us that impermanence, mujo, imperfection, and incompleteness are not conditions to be resisted but fundamental truths to be embraced. Unlike Western ideals that often equate beauty with symmetry, clarity, and permanence, Wabi-Sabi sees beauty as fleeting, elusive, and deeply tied to the imperfections that mark the passage of time. Central to Wabi-Sabi is the Buddhist notion of impermanence. Everything in life is transient. Flowers bloom and wither, youth fades, relationships evolve, and nothing remains exactly as it was. In many philosophies, this truth is a source of sorrow or even existential dread. But Wabi-Sabi transforms impermanence into a quiet liberation. Rather than mourn what we lose, we are encouraged to cherish what we have while it lasts. This shift in perspective alters our engagement with life itself. When we accept that a chipped bowl still holds meaning or that a weathered table has more character than a polished new one, we are practicing the art of letting go. We release the impossible desire to control or preserve everything in its prime and instead honor the beauty of change. In our personal lives, this ethos can have transformative power. We often cling to youthful ideals, unchanging relationships, or rigid plans for the future. But Wabi-Sabi invites us to loosen our grip and recognize that it is the fleeting nature of experiences that makes them precious. A friendship that endures distance and difficulty, though frayed at the edges, is more beautiful than one that never faced hardship. A face marked by laughter lines tells a richer story than one preserved in artificial stillness. To love imperfection, then, is to love life as it truly is, ever-changing, always moving. Wabi-Sabi's embrace of incompleteness challenges the perfectionism that dominates much of modern culture. We are taught to finish things, to strive for the ideal, to complete the narrative. But what if there is beauty in what is left undone? This is evident in the arts inspired by Wabi-Sabi. Traditional Japanese ceramics, such as raku ware, often include irregularities, an uneven glaze, a rough texture, a visible crack, elements that would be rejected in Western production but are cherished as signs of authenticity. Similarly, in Japanese gardens designed with Wabi-Sabi in mind, pathways may lead to nowhere and spaces are left deliberately open, inviting contemplation rather than conclusion. The aesthetic of incompletion allows room for imagination and mystery. It acknowledges that no object or person is ever finished. Just as nature is always in flux, we too are works in progress. The scars we carry, the mistakes we make, the dreams we abandon all become part of our story, not as failures but as integral threads in the tapestry of becoming. This philosophy encourages a different kind of creativity, one that is less about control and more about receptivity. Artists and thinkers who embrace Wabi-Sabi allow their work to evolve organically, accepting flaws and accidents as part of the process. In doing so, they mirror life itself, which unfolds not according to blueprints, but in surprising, imperfect patterns. Perhaps the most profound application of Wabi-Sabi is in how we view ourselves. In a culture driven by self-improvement, optimization, and constant comparison, we often see our flaws as enemies to be conquered. But Wabi-Sabi offers a radically different view. Our imperfections are not obstacles to beauty, but the very source of it. To love oneself in a Wabi-Sabi way is to love the parts that do not fit the mold. The awkward laugh, the shy demeanor, the broken heart, the aging body, all these become symbols of a life authentically lived. Instead of chasing an ideal version of ourselves, we can begin to accept who we are right now, unfinished, vulnerable, and enough. This self-acceptance is not complacency. It does not mean we stop growing or learning, but it means we no longer grow from a place of shame or lack. Instead, we grow like a tree weathered by seasons, bent by winds, but rooted in being. Wabi-Sabi teaches that true strength lies not in flawless perfection but in resilient openness. This inner shift also changes how we relate to others. When we accept our own imperfection, we become more compassionate toward the imperfections of those around us. We stop demanding that others be ideal and start appreciating them as complex, evolving beings. Relationships deepen not because they are perfect, but because they are honest and human. In a world that prizes speed, efficiency, and uniformity, Wabi-Sabi may appear quaint or nostalgic. But in truth, it offers a timely counterbalance to many of the crises we face, both personally and globally. Consumer culture thrives on dissatisfaction. It tells us we are not good enough, our homes are not stylish enough, our lives not exciting enough. But Wabi-Sabi whispers otherwise. It encourages us to slow down, to appreciate what is already here, to find joy in the simple and the worn. It is a quiet rebellion against the tyranny of more. Environmentally, too, Wabi-Sabi aligns with sustainability. By valuing what is old, used, and imperfect, we resist the throwaway culture of modern capitalism. A repaired teapot, a patched shirt, or a hand-carved spoon becomes not a compromise, but a celebration. This mindset fosters gratitude, conservation, and mindful consumption. In mental health, Wabi-Sabi speaks to the epidemic of anxiety and perfectionism that afflicts so many. The pressure to always achieve, always present an ideal self, leads to burnout and disconnection. But when we begin to see that life does not need to be flawless to be meaningful, we find relief. We can rest. We can breathe. We can be. To love the imperfect is to love what it means to be human. It is to see that a cracked bowl can still hold water, and perhaps, because of the crack, it can also hold light in ways a flawless vessel never could. Wabi-Sabi teaches us that beauty is not something polished and preserved in a glass case. It is something that lives in the worn floorboards, the faded photograph, the trembling voice, the crooked smile. In embracing Wabi-Sabi, we embrace the truth that life is messy, fragile, and incomplete, and that this very reality is what makes it precious. We learn to find peace not in perfection, but in presence. We learn to love not the idea of a perfect life, but the life we already have. Textured, aging, scarred, and filled with grace. In a culture that tells us to strive, Wabi-Sabi tells us to soften. In a world that demands improvement, it offers acceptance. And in a time of relentless change, it gives us a timeless gift. The permission to love what is broken, and in doing so, to heal. Thank you for accompanying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below, so we can discuss. Wish you and your family good health.